In this video, I will show you how to use the code editor of Remix. So we are going to start with a high-level overview. The code editor of Remix is based on the Monaco editor also used in VS Code. So if you already use VS Code, it will probably look familiar. The code editor provides syntax highlighting for Solidity, the language for smart contracts. But it also supports JavaScript and TypeScript, which is very useful for tests and scripts. Each file is saved in a separate tab. If there are too many tabs, you can scroll horizontally to see the hidden tabs. The code is automatically saved every 5 seconds. This is saved in your local browser, but there is also an option to work with the local file system. More on this in another video. And finally, you can adjust the zoom level with these two buttons. Next, I will focus on compilation, errors, and warnings. To compile a Solidity file, click on this button. Make sure that the correct file is selected, as this will only compile the active file. You can also trigger the compilation with a keyboard shortcut. If you are working on a JavaScript or TypeScript file, when you click the play button, it will run the code and not compile it. If there is a compilation error, you will see a red syntax highlighting. The file will become red in the tab, as well as in the File Explorer. To see the error message, hover on the red syntax highlighting. It's also possible to have warnings, which are non-critical issues. You can ignore warnings, but it's recommended to address them. When you have a warning, you will see a yellow syntax highlighting. And like for errors, you can hover on the warning syntax highlighting to see the warning message. Triggering the compilation manually is a bit tedious, but you can also set up automatic compilation by going in the compiler menu. With autocompile, compilation will be triggered automatically whenever you change the code or when you select another file. While we are in the compile menu, it's useful to know that you can also see the errors and warnings in the menu. If you import a file that has an error, your main file is not going to compile. Finally, if you hover on an error on the file tree, you will see the error message. Next, I'm going to demonstrate the autocomplete feature. When you start to type some code, Remix will try to guess what you want to type and will show you some suggestions. You can navigate the suggestions with the arrow keys, and to accept one of them, just press enter. If you have errors, the autocomplete might not work fully. So in this case, make sure to fix the errors first before using the autocomplete. Next, I will explain quick fixes. Quick fixes are suggestions made by Remix to fix small mistakes such as missing license, wrong visibility, or wrong data location. For example, here we are missing the license statement. To apply the quick fix, first you click on the line number and you will see a blue dot and you pick the suggestion you want. Next, I'm going to explain import statements. When you code in Solidity, you often need to import code from other files. With Remix, you can import code coming from 3 sources: local files, NPM packages, and GitHub repo. First, let's cover how to import a local file. Here we have 2 smart contracts, and I want to import this smart contract into this one. All I have to do is to use an import statement and reference the other file. Next, let's see how to import some third-party code through GitHub. Let's say we want to import ERC20 from OpenZeppelin. All we have to do is copy the GitHub URL, including the path to the file that we want to import. And back in Remix, we paste the URL in our import statement. And now we can use the imported code. The other way to import third-party code is to reference their NPM package if they published it. Taking our example of OpenZeppelin, they do have an NPM package. So in Remix, we can reference the NPM package, then the path to the file that we want to import. And normally this will mirror the file structure that you have in GitHub. Please note that if you don't specify a version number, Remix will import the latest version by default. That's why it's recommended to include the version number. For an NPM import, it will look like this. And for a GitHub import, it will look like this. Last note about importing external code. Beside NPM packages and GitHub, the import statement will accept any HTTPS URL that serves a Solidity file. Next, I will explain gas estimates in Remix. When you write your smart contract, you want to make sure that your code spans as little gas as possible. Remix shows you how much gas a function spans. Every time you make a change to the code, you can see how it impacts the gas cost. This also works for the constructor, but this time you have two estimates. First, there is the estimation creation cost, which is the total cost of creating the smart contract, including the cost of executing the constructor. And after, there is the code deposit cost, which shows you how much it costs to store the code of the smart contract on the blockchain. The bigger your code, the bigger this cost will be. Just to be clear, this gas estimate is a subcomponent of this other gas estimate. Next, let's talk of definitions and references. Let's say that you want to use a function, but you don't remember the function signature. Instead of doing a manual search to find the function definition, you can just right-click on Jump to Definition, and you will navigate to the function definition. This also works with any definition such as variables, modifiers, or smart contracts. If you hover on a definition, this time you will see the comments attached to this definition if they exist. Another interesting feature is references. Let's say you want to know when a function is used. You select the function, you click on Go to References, and it will show you a list of all the places where this function is used as well as where it's defined. If you want to jump to one of these references, you just have to click on it. One click will give you a peek at the code, and a double click will navigate to the reference. Like for Go to Definitions, Go to References works with any definition such as variables, modifiers, or smart contracts. Alright, that's it for this video.